All right, looks like we're here.
We're here. So, guys, as you're joining us, you're very welcome today for this probably fairly brief chat with my friend Scott Perry. He's going to tell us a little bit about a really exciting project that he's got coming up or about to be released, I guess. Scott, how are you?
Perfect in every way. Really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you again, David, and good to see you doing so well.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, Scott was one of my podcast guests, I think maybe a couple of seasons ago on the podcast, and it was great to have a chat then. So I'm excited to hear what you've got in store today, Scott. And again, anyone who's joining us for this brief chat, subscribe to Scott's publication up at the top and ask any questions in the comments if you want to do that as we're here. So, Scott, you have a book coming out, I do believe, called Intrepid, and it asks one question in 27 different ways, which I'm really interested to hear about. And what something else you said about it is, do you care enough to commit? And that's sort of the tagline for it, I guess, as well. I'm interested to hear what that's all about as well. So, go for it. Tell us all about Intrepid. What's it all about?
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the question and the opportunity to talk about. So, the book is actually available. It looks like this,
Nice.
and as you said, it asks one fundamental question 27 different ways. Do you care enough to commit? Because I think for many of the folks that follow my work, and probably a lot of the folks that follow your work as well, we self-identify as many things. We play many different roles and have many different identities in our lives, but all of us are purpose-driven people that want to live a meaningful, fulfilling life on our terms. And sometimes you know, the desire to do something because we don't talk a lot about what does it mean to be human, what does it mean to be happy, how do I become more of both in school or on the job. We don't have a lot of direction for like I have this sense that I'm meant to be and do more and better, but I don't know how to get started. So the book is written to help pretty much anybody that thinks this way to show up as they are with what they have and where they currently are. And so it's 27 questions divided into 3 sets of 9, but it's not a sequential kind of blueprint or roadmap. It's presented as start with the question that intrigues you the most, that resonates the most, that scares you the most, because that's probably where you need to begin. And so the journey is at first consideration of the problem. Do I am I ready to set a point on the horizon that I'm heading toward and to solve the most immediate problem I need to solve in order to become the kind of person that can accomplish that thing? The second part is about crafting that path that's going to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And the third part is about the maintaining the commitment, staying consistent, persisting through the journey.
Mm.
Um, and so the intrepid is an interesting word. It's a word that most of us are familiar with, but we don't use very often, and maybe we don't know exactly what it means. Uh, Intrepid is often in my conversations, people think it means fearlessness, which is another form of recklessness. Like if you don't have any fear and you jump off cliffs and jump into unknown situations, you're basically playing Russian roulette. And the thing about Russian roulette is that everybody that plays Russian roulette loses eventually if you play it over and over.
Mm.
So the the idea of intrepid is actually no, it's not being reckless or it's being resolute, meaning being mindful and aware and acknowledging fear and determining that and defining what it really is and using that as context for how you're going to navigate and move forward into the things that matter to you. So it's more about becoming resolute, about pursuing things that matter, doing work that matters, and becoming the kind of person that you want to become.
Nice. I love it. One thing you say in the book, I think, Scott, is that people don't have a motivation problem; they've got a commitment problem. So, What's the difference between those two things, between having a motivation problem and a commitment problem?
Well, I bet you're familiar with this as a writer and someone that's written a lot of great books and does a lot of great writing on Substack. Um, it if David McElroy only wrote when he was inspired or motivated to write, he would probably never write because inspiration does not visit people that aren't already doing the work, that aren't getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, that aren't embracing uncertainty and navigating their way into possibility. Inspiration, and Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in her great TED talk on the subject. Inspiration visits the people that show up every day, lace up their boots, to use a metaphor from Stephen Pressfield, sit down and do the work. And so we have like there's a lot of folks, that call themselves mindset coaches that peddle this idea that you have to get your mindset right, and then you'll be able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. And I think that's actually the exact opposite of what's true.
Mm,
If you wanna change your mindset, you're going to have to change the way that you behave. Your posture informs your mindset, not the other way around. So rather than wait for motivation or try to find someone that's going to provide you with motivation, what happens if instead you set a vision for what you're trying to accomplish or who you wanna become or what you'd like to do, and work your way all the way back to what's the one thing that I could decide and do today that's not going to hurt me, that's not gonna burn me out or blow me up, that will help me get a little bit clearer and a little about where I'm going and what I need to do next, and a little bit more confident that I can become the kind of person that does that. And
mm,
so that's a commitment that everybody on this live could make about their lives right now. I'm committed to the journey of figuring out who I really am, what I'm really good at, where I really belong, and where I'm going next. And then whether it's through my book or through your community or what I
mm.
do, which is tap into ancient philosophical and spiritual traditions, defining how you're going to take these daily disciplined steps into possibility that compound over time. These little small steps compound over time, and you become the thing by doing the thing.
Mm.
You the process becomes the shortcut and the reward. You may not get exactly where you imagine, but you'll get somewhere really good, and you'll become the kind of person that can thrive and inspire through that journey.
Okay. Um, in terms of those small steps, I know that in terms of social media and things like that, we're often pushed towards making these big leaps all the time to totally change everything that you do. And if you're not jumping ahead massively, you're getting left behind. Um, does taking those small steps as a writer or a creator kind of feel like lowering the standard a little bit? Like, is it too little to do that sort of thing, or are those small steps enough? You talk about them compounding, obviously, but can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. I, when your audience sees you publish a book, they are witnessing the result of a daily discipline of small steps that compound over time. It looks like David took a big, huge swing and managed to hit a home run. He launched a book. It became a bestseller. Um, he did a thing that's worth making a remark about. But that's all they see. They're seeing the last step in a long slog and series of steps.
Mm,
And I mean, you can think, sometimes when I'm talking to people that just feel like they can't motivate themselves to do big things, you've already done a bunch of big things. Part of my story is that my business is built around the fact that I'm a full-time grandpa. I take care of my 8-month-old and 4-year-old grandson 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. I built a business that provides me with a livelihood just working a few hours a day because that's what I have to do in order to do the things that matter to me. And being with my grandsons reminds me of how each and every one of us has accomplished some possible things already. My 8-month-old grandson is learning how to talk. Is he using complete sentences? Am I having him study the dictionary so he comes up with all the words? No. He spends a lot of time gurgling and spitting and goo-gooing and gagaing and dadaing, and we
Mhm.
interact and we spend time together every day speaking this babble and nonsense. But he's going to become a talker, just the way that his older brother has become a talker, and just the way that I became a talker when I was 8 months old. And it's the same way that we've learned to walk and read and ride a bike and do Substack lives.
Mhm.
If you only pay it, it's, I guess the fundamental way to think about this is the snapshot is not the movie.
Mhm.
When we see the snapshot that David has published another book, or that Scott has published a book, or that somebody has accomplished this big thing, that's all it is a snapshot of a moment.
Mhm.
And it we don't see the movie that happened up to that point, and we're not gonna, maybe we don't see the rest of the movie that happens after that point. But the movie is a series of very small frames,
Mhm.
and you have to acknowledge that each of those small steps in the movie is equally important, because the snapshot that maybe is something we notice doesn't happen without all of those other snapshots that happened before it.
Yeah. Brilliant. So, Scott, I guess if people are wanting to go on this journey where they're taking these small steps towards accomplishing something big, um, where do you most often see people sabotaging themselves before they even get started on this journey? So that's kind of almost the biggest thing, that initial small step towards just getting started. Where do you see people kind of shoot themselves in the foot at the beginning?
Well, we are programmed and conditioned to sabotage ourselves at every stage. We have this thing, this gray matter between our ears that is full of biases and distortions and false narratives and false beliefs, and desires for things that don't really promote our health or happiness. So we're navigating that regardless of where you are in whatever definition of success you're trying to cultivate in your life. Um, I would say that the thing worth celebrating is that if you've woken up to the fact that you've lived life kind of on autopilot or asleep up to this point, that's worth celebrating in and of itself. I mean, folks normally will approach me at that moment, like, "Hey, some of the folks I work with have built have built a business that they've sold for millions of dollars,
Mm.
and they are in a crisis because they don't know who they are, or what they can do if they aren't the person that built this thing." They don't know what they want to do next. They don't know that they can do anything next. So, it's taken the forced sunk costs of letting go of an identity and an accomplishment to arrive at looking in the mirror and saying, "Okay, well, if I'm not this, then who am I? And what
Mm.
am I? Where am I going?" So, the thing that I would say is, regardless of where you are, if you're just awoken to your infinite potential and the infinite possibility of the life ahead of you, um, then the thing that you need to do is to find the others, and the others are going to be the fellow travelers, the scene, the tribe of people that are moving in a similar direction. It's going to be about finding the guides, the mentors, the coaches, the cornermen that will be with you and walk alongside you and witness and promote your journey. And it's going to be about navigating all of the baggage of the people that prefer you the way you are or the way you used to be, and navigating how you're going to make sure that you don't allow the naysayers to be the people that suck all of your motivation, energy,
Mm.
ability, just so that they can remain with the comfortable story about you that they tell themselves, even though it's not the story that you want to continue or to live. And so you do this through a lot of your work. I do this through my own communities. We create these little communities of people that do things like this, uh, that that have shared values, shared guiding principles, share aspirations, share challenges, and leverage the power of connection, affiliation, belonging, identity, and collective momentum to become the thing by doing the thing, to become the kind of person you want to become by actually navigating the challenges of that are in front of you every single moment of every single day.
Brilliant. I love it. I think the book sounds incredible, Scott. I think anyone who's listening again, this is about Scott's book Intrepid, which is out now, and you can definitely grab a copy of and dig into what we've been talking about here today. Scott, if people have been here for the last sort of 20 minutes or so and they're finishing this conversation with us now, and they want to take one honest next step after this, what do you suggest they do?
Well, obviously, you can join a community like David's or like mine at Creative on Purpose or buy the book. But everything that I'm sharing in Intrepid comes from it's just repurposed insights and inspiration from time tested ancient philosophical and spiritual tradition. It all begins with real, and the book begins with stop looking out the window for people that have the solutions, or that you think have the answers, and instead look in the mirror and just start asking yourself the fundamental questions: Who am I? What do I really want? Uh, what am I good at? Where do I belong? Who do I want to become? I mean, this is where it all begins. And if I would say it would be accelerated and catalyzed if you find a few fellow travelers, people that are heading in a similar direction, to help support and promote the journey that you want to be on.
Nice. Scott, where can people pick up a copy of your book? Where's the best place to get it?
If you go to the Creative on Purpose Substack, the last week of posts include a link. I am starting this book without promoting it at all on Amazon, just as an experiment. I want to see um, if I can do this without relying on a platform that a lot of us feel is becoming increasingly enshittified, to use Cory Doctorow's uh, word. So if you go to Creative on Purpose, there was a post put out yesterday that has a link, and if you purchase the paperback, you will find a link inside that gets you the ebook, the audiobook, and a reader's guide for free as part of the purchase.
Brilliant. That sounds incredible. Can we see the book one more time just as we finish the
Sure.
conversation?
Intrepid, dare to make a difference. Do you care enough to commit?
Brilliant. So everyone grab a copy of that, check out Scott's publication, and check out his recent post. You can get a copy through the link there. Scott, thanks so much for this chat. It's so good to have a conversation with you again. It's been a while since we actually had a one-to-one chat. So been really, really good. I think everyone's probably really enjoyed this chat as well. And yeah, I'll have to get a copy of the book myself as well.
Awesome. Well, I know a guy that can get one sent to you, so just let me know. All right. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks, Scott. See you soon. Bye, everyone.